Welcome back. In this video, we are going to see one of the important feature in hierarchy, which is multi-level hierarchy. As the name indicates, here a subclass is derived from a derived class, and when we implement this mechanism is going to be known as multi-level inheritance. Let me explain. Think that we have got a class called A. So let me take it as the class A, and I'll take one more class. Let us say it as class B, and I'll take one more class called C. Now, class B extends class A. So this is what. So when I do this, what happened? Class A is the superclass for class B, and class B is the subclass for class A. Am I right? Now I'll write class C extends B. When I write this, C is going to be the subclass and B is going to be the superclass. But if you look at the diagram completely, we can say that in this diagram or in this scenario, we have implemented multi-level inheritance where a subclass, look at this, the subclass we can take it as C. This is derived from a derived class. We already a derived class. From this derived class, we have derived one more class. So please do remember the C is a subclass or child class, and B is the parent for this. And if you take B, B is a child class, whereas A is the parent class. So this can go up to any number of levels. If you look at this, we have got only 3 levels, but we can have any number of levels like this. So here, the class says everything about this. So let us have a close look at this. So we have got a class called A, and we have got another class called B, and we wrote class B extends class A. Now B is a subclass of superclass A. When I write this, what happened? Class B is a subclass of superclass A. Now if I go to the next class where we have written class C extends B. Now C is a subclass of class B, whereas B itself is a subclass of superclass A. So this phenomena, this property, this situation, we call it as multi-level inheritance. So let us see a small example for this. So we have taken a class called A. So A is the class name, and it has got two instance variable. One is X, other one is Y, and it has got a method called get. And what get does, no, that is not important at this stage. And it has got another method called show. This is the second method the class A have got, and we have got another class called B. This is what the class B, and class B extends A. That means class B is a subclass of class A, and it has got a single method. There is no instance variable in this. It has got a single method called show B. So show says is a method in class A. Show B says is a method in class B. So it's not mandatory like you have to give the particular name. You can give any name for that. Okay. Now look at the next class, which is class C, and it says it extends class B. Class C extends class B, and it has got two methods. One is display, other one is the main method, right? So this is as simple as this. We have got three classes. One is A. It has got two instance variable and two methods. Class B has got just a method. Class C, which extends B, and it has got two methods. Now let us see how this program works. as you know, so all the complete thing you have to store in a single file. We can have any number of classes in a single file, but you have to find out the class which has got the main method, because the main method is, you have to find the class which has got the main method, and that class name should be your file name. Okay, now if you look at these three different classes, you can find the class C is the class which has got the main method. So obviously this is going to be the entry point. So where I'm going to create an object of the class A. So A is the class name, and A small letter is the object name. So next A dot get. So A dot get. So get is the method in the super class. A is not only superclass for C, it is even a superclass for B. So now what happened? The class C inherits all the properties from class A as well as class B. So we are able to access a method in the superclass A. Why? Because for class B, class A is the superclass, right? So we have inherited the property, or we have invoked the method called get, where p takes value 5 and q takes the value 6. And next we are going to assign the values for x and y. So x gets value 5 and y gets value 6, and this is going to return to the call method. So after this, which is a method to be done? The method to be done is a dot show. So again, we are going to invoke a method in the superclass A. So it will go back to this, and which is going to invoke this, where I'm going to print the value of x. So when I print this, I'll be getting the output as 5. So this is a complete example where we have multi-level inheritance. How many classes we have got? We have got three classes. First is A, next is my class B and class C. So this is C, this is class B, and this is the class A, where class A is a superclass for class B, and for class C, B is the superclass. Actually, the arrow mark should be in the reverse order. So what happened in class C? We have invoked the object, sorry, we have invoked the method in the class A. Why? Because for class B, class A is the superclass. And let us see the last type of inheritance, which is multiple inheritance. Thus you could see where a class called x, let us take x as a class. So class called x have inherited properties from class C, class B, and class A. The mechanism of inheriting the features of more than one base class into a single class, we call it as multiple inheritance. But Java does not support multiple inheritance, but we have a mechanism called interface. Using the interface, we can implement this. Now, takes the value 8, and so n is going to be 8, and O takes the value 7. So we are done with the constructor. Now look at the next statement where we can find the super. So super with three parameters. So L, M, N. So L is 4, M is 3, and N is 8. So what it is going to do? This is going to invoke the method in the. This is going to invoke not the method. This is going to invoke the constructor in the superclass. So it will go back to the constructor in the superclass, and this is the constructor in the superclass. So what this is going to do? This is going to assign the values for A, B, and C. So now what happened? What is the p value? P is going to be 4, Q is going to be 3, and R is going to be 8. Where A gets the value of P, and let me say this is A. So which takes the value of P, which is going to be 4, and B takes, let us say this is B, and B takes the value of Q, and Q is 3, and C takes the value of R, which is 8. So we are done with this statement, and it will come back to the the constructor of B, where we are going to initialize the local variable. The local variable here it is D. D gets the value of O, which is 7. O was 7, right? So this is 4, this is 3, and this is 8, and O is 7. This is what the values we are given, right? Next, so it will come back to the main program, where we are going to invoke the method in the subclass b dot show. So what is this is going to, this is going to invoke the method in the subclass. So which is the method? The method is show, where I'm going to print the value of a. What is a? A is going to be 4. So I'll be getting the output as a is equal to 4, and b is, what is my b value, which is 3, and C is going to be, C is 8, and D is going to be 7. So this is this is a way by which we can invoke the constructor in the superclass. How this is possible? This is done using the keyword super. So finally we got the output like, A is 4, this A belongs to the superclass, B is 3, this also belongs to superclass, C is 8, this also belongs to the superclass, and D belongs to the subclass. We are talking about this D, and we are talking about this A, B, and C. So we got the output as A is 4, B is 3, C is 8, and D is